most people work their whole lives just so that they can afford to not work anymore. Like, imagine what kind of sort of setup that is. You know what I mean? Like, you are working your ass off just so that one day you won't have to go into work anymore. Like, what a terrible existence in my mind, you know? Like, if I hated what I did so much that the end goal was to stop doing it, every day would be such a struggle, you know? And so the thing was, and then it's like, other people will retire just to go do something cool, like travel the world, or, you know, start a non-profit organization, or open a little tea shop, or, you know, like things like that. And then why not do that first? What do you have to lose? And I was like, fair enough. What's the worst that could happen? And I started to think, like, what's the worst that could possibly happen with this if I just try to make a go at it? What's the worst that could happen? Can't make rent, have to take all this stuff out, and hang it up until I can afford to pay rent again. Okay. Ooh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when people think about the consequences of chasing their dreams, they sort of bloat them.
Yeah.
And it looks like this nebulous cloud of, that would be terrible, I will never be able to live, I'm gonna die of sadness and depression. But then when you actually think of, like, what's the worst that could happen if you did this? And how bad is that, really? And can you sustain it? And I was thinking, like, what's the worst that could happen if I make a go at this? I try and I fail. What's the worst that could happen if I don't go at this? And it's much worse.
Recently I played in a concert, but it wasn't what I was usually used to playing. I played cello, so I usually played in an orchestra. And I played in a band, and it was a really good experience. And I don't know, at that moment, like, I'd always known that since I was about 8 or 9, that I wanted to be a musician. Aspiring to be a musician can be discouraging because a lot of people think about the negative aspects, like tough financial situations and not being recognized or not being admired, or, you know, just not making it anywhere with that career. And the truth is that people really shouldn't be discouraged by it, because you never know. I mean, some people who go to a prestigious music school and work really hard, they're more likely to make it, but even then, in everyday life, you can apply your talent, and that's something that you won't lose regardless of what you're doing, you know, to try to make a living. So for me personally, it's never really been about that. I've always just been inspired to make music because it's what I like doing. It's what I enjoy doing, and it's what I think that I would enjoy the most doing for the rest of my life.
What do you do?
I'm a lead worshiper at my church.
Do most people understand what you do?
I think some people do, some people don't. I think some people think that religion is a crutch, and so they don't really understand why people would turn to music to express worship. But I think that some people do understand why you would use music as a form of expression of worship. I played the piano growing up, and it was kind of a good instrument that lends itself to being able to play other instruments. So I got a guitar when I was in high school, started learning how to play guitar, and at the same time I was becoming more involved in my youth ministry at church. And one of the things that our youth leader was leading us in was creating a worship band. So I started myself as a high schooler playing guitar in a worship band, and then as this became my career, as I became a pastor, it just became very natural for me to continue to let that be a part of my job, being a worship leader. And I love being able to pour into students in the same way that somebody poured into me, with emphasizing the importance of music and showing me a way that I could use music at the same time that I'm growing in my faith.